Hello and welcome to What's Up Wednesdays. So welcome back to another reinvented episode of What's Up Wednesdays, where every week we show you what's going on in Kansas City, as well as the places that we get to travel on our exclusive day trips with Alternative Perspective Travel. This year has been one of the craziest years for travel. It's virtually been non-existent, but because of the things happening this year, a lot of new things have happened in a very positive way. So this week I wanted to focus on some predictions of what's going to happen this year and next. And depending on how our election goes in the US, that will change a lot as well. I really wanted to focus on what I think are the best places for you to travel and what is actually happening in our city. So that's what I wanted to focus on this week. And I thought this would be a perfect spot for it. This is a railroad station that has been around since 1879, so it's a very historical spot here in Independence. We're very lucky that this was not destroyed and it was actually preserved and moved here so we could enjoy it. And inside is a special museum. They are closed through October 31st, which was over the weekend. So hopefully their tours will be starting up very soon. So definitely check that out. I'll put a link below to the museum if you want to check that out and see more of our railroad history here in Independence. Independence specifically is a very historical city for a lot of people traveling through on the Santa Fe, California, and Oregon trails. So Independence was a huge route city to stop through and kind of gather supplies and continue on through the west. So we're very thankful for our railroad systems because that helped kind of bridge our economy here in the city, and there's a really cool history here. So I'll link some more information on that. So I wanted to cover kind of predictions for the rest of this year into next. So as far as what to do in 2020 into 2021, there are a few places that are still open and there's some countries that are not. So that's super vague, so I wanted to start with just what's going on in Kansas City. So we do have a lot of our businesses open now, and as far as entertainment goes, our concert venues and event centers are pretty much still closed. So places where a lot of people are going to be packed in is very limited. Our Chiefs football team does have a lower capacity, but they're allowing fans in, so the stadiums aren't filled up like they usually are, which is a huge bummer because our crowds are amazing and our fans just really get super loud. So that is definitely different, but fans are allowed to go, so that's a plus. Other than that, we're pretty much limited to restaurants and select businesses that are essential, but pretty much everything seems about normal here in Kansas City. We're having tighter regulations on masks and things like that, but it allows businesses to stay open, and that's really important. And unfortunately, I have seen some businesses that have closed this year, but brand new ones are still opening, so that's a huge plus. And if you caught my little teaser last week, starting this week into the rest of this year, we're going to be featuring a business every Friday, a business that has worked so hard to stay open this year. So they have changed things dramatically to accommodate for COVID regulations. They're staying up to date every day to let their staff know. And based on the insight I've gotten from doing a few Uber deliveries and Uber trips, and then talking in the field and being able to talk to these businesses in person during these exclusive interviews, I've been able to gain some insight that while regulations change every day and our city kind of changes its mind sometimes and is just trying to do the best that we can, these businesses and our customers and residents in Kansas City are so loyal, and so it's truly a pleasure to be a part of helping these businesses to gain more traction and get a bigger audience. So I hope you all enjoyed those videos. This week we're going to start with Border Brewing Company. We did put up an album of photos for them last week, and you can read our review all about them on Google. I'll link that below. So we're going to post their interview this Friday. And we had attended to last week, and with the holidays it just seemed like a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of traffic. So we're going to kick that off this week. So this Friday will be our very first business interview with Border Brewing Company, and from here on out we're going to have an exclusive interview for you every week. So outside of Kansas City, what I've been able to notice as far as what's happening in the US is that every state is kind of changing their regulations as well, and some states are locked down and tight while others have had virtually no regulations through the entire year, and then some states are kind of in the middle. So if you are traveling domestically, I would really suggest to travel by railroad track, which is why I wanted to be at this railroad station today, and also by car. Now, flights, of course, are still running, but very limited seating and things like that. So it's just a safer bet to be in a smaller space with your own people and you're in a car or a train just because it's spread out more. But I do think the airlines are doing a good job as far as what I've read with sanitizing everything. It's just a little bit hard to distance people when you're on a plane. So that is just something to keep in mind. If you are wanting to travel abroad, however, I have a list below of the top 20 countries that are virtually COVID-free or have reached COVID-free numbers and are safe right now to travel to. Now do check in advance to see if they have any testing required or quarantine periods in advance, because countries like Australia and New Zealand are requiring tourists to get tested and to quarantine for 2 weeks before entering. They might even have stricter regulations as far as if you're even able to visit. So make sure if they have any visa regulations due to COVID that you check that in advance. We will be, looking for resources as well to help you all out so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And then places in Europe, there's safe countries that are available and open, but again, if you're not already in the country and you're traveling from outside, there might be specific regulations from country to country, so you definitely want to pay attention to that and do a thorough research in advance. If you're traveling from the US, Canada has opened its borders as well as Mexico. The Caribbean is also open, so I'm getting an island vibe for this year to travel for the holidays. So those three places are safe for US travelers to go to and are fairly accessible either by land or by short flight. So that's something to consider. My family's considering going to Mexico for December, so we've done our research and picked the best possible place that we can, and based on our own comfortability and what we believe is the best for our own situation, that's kind of how we've decided where to travel and where not to. Along with all the research, just checking in advance from state to state, country to country, to make sure if you need special documentation, if they're going to be testing you when you arrive, if you need to be quarantined when you arrive or return back. So these are all these things that you will want to definitely check in advance, but not to limit yourself to not traveling at all just because of this, just to take extra precautions. Something I recommend for this year into next is to get a national park pass. So while traveling domestically in the US, the park pass will save you so much money. It costs $80 and it's valid for a full year. So from now until November of 2021, you can use that pass as much as you'd like. My brothers and I have saved so much money using this pass, and so has my dad and stepmom. And it's valid for pretty much every single state and national park. There are protective native lands where it is not valid. So places like Page, Arizona with the Horseshoe Bend and the Antelope Canyons, places like that are protective native lands. So there are, different fees for places like that. But as far as the big parks, Grand Canyon and, infamous parks where it gets a lot of traffic, that's where that pass comes in handy a lot. So it'll save you $5 here, $10 there. It really adds up, especially if you have multiple people in your car. So it is valid for, I believe, 4 people per pass, and that's really handy for families especially. For next week on What's Up Wednesday, I'll have an exclusive trip through Alternative Perspective Travel. We're going to do a bit more research into trips to Mexico and the Caribbean, as well as some islands out in the Oceania area, and we're going to look into Canada as well. So if you are traveling from the US, we're going to find a package for you that is safe and open and have more specific details on what the COVID regulations are. So if you're eager to get out of the country but you're not really sure where to start looking, pay attention to next week's video because we're going to have all of that for you. So in the links below, I'm going to link some information to the train depot on that right now if you want to learn a little bit more of the history and when they're opening that museum. I'll also link below our Amtrak links, so if you do want to travel by train, that's a pretty affordable way to do so, and it's a good way to safely socially distance and get from place to place. That is everything I have for you all for this week as far as what's up in Kansas City and some predictions for safe travel trends this year into next. Next week I'll have a more exclusive and detailed package of a tour that you can do. So if you are wanting to go on a vacation this year for the holidays, we're going to do all the research for you so you can know that it's going to be recommended, it's safe, and you'll know all the regulations due to COVID and everything like that. And as I mentioned, this Friday we're going to be posting our first exclusive interview with the local businesses here in Kansas City. We're going to start with Border Brewing Company. We did put an album of photos up for them, so if you want to check them out on our Facebook page to get some more information, that will be on our Facebook page as well as Google. So you can see a review of our experience, and we'll give you that exclusive interview this week. And after that, we're going to have some more exclusive interviews of places open in Kansas City, so you know exactly what you can do and what's happening behind the scenes. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope this information was helpful, and as always, stay safe and healthy out there. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for subscribing and supporting our channels. It really helps to create content like this, and as much time and effort that goes into these videos, it's always so welcome to get any feedback, so we do appreciate any comments and feedback from you. If you do have topic suggestions that you would like me to talk about, or you know of current things happening in your state, definitely shoot us a message to help us get that information out to others. It's also helpful to know from word of mouth from a person who lives in that place what's actually going on, so that is super helpful and we would love to hear from you. Thank you all so much. We'll see you all next time.